Hey, how's everybody doing? Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, and I hope you're doing well. My hair's a little fuzzy, poofy. Okay, so having coached a lot of people through this 11-day ER shred protocol, I want to walk you through a couple things that I've noticed or experienced with a handful of people. Keep in mind, we've had hundreds of people do this now safely, and the results have been unbelievably cool and exciting. If you want to see the results, go to bodyalive.com. It'll direct you to our Facebook group where you can see all the different results that are coming in. There is a minority of people, a very small minority, who initially, they don't have that experience like I did, like so many others have, where by about the 4th or 5th day, they just like, boom, they just feel great and they feel so good. And we even said, come alive by day 5, because it's just like this awakening. And there are a very small minority of people. If I was to put a percent on it, just guessing, there's probably in the neighborhood of maybe 5% at most, where it's a struggle for them initially. And so I talked to a guy last night, and he's on day, what was he on? I want to say he was on day 6, and he had not, his energy is low, like very low, and then he also has loose stool. I want to talk to you about that and kind of work through that. And I want to make people aware that, there is a small percentage of people that could have this kind of an experience. So with that said, your body, when we talk about fat adaptation, okay, your body is either in fat burning mode or it's in sugar burning mode. So what that means is, layman's terms, is your body is either burning glucose for energy, or it's burning fat stores for energy, or animal fats for energy. Most people, in my experience, learning about this as I have now, I knew about, fat adaptation for years. I just never really understood it personally. I don't think I ever really understood the power of it. I don't think I ever realized the power of it. I never truly experienced it myself. I think I had experienced the process of your body tapping its own fat stores, which is, I think that's even a little bit different than burning animal fats for fuel. We talk about ketosis and the body leveraging its own fat stores for energy, and that can be healthy, to some extent, and mild ketosis can be safe. But you don't want to send your body into like a full-blown ketosis for an extended period of time, because that can be unhealthy. So it's kind of finding, the right balance of that. But your body is either going to burn sugar for energy or fat. Now, if you're introducing a lot of carbohydrate or sugar to the body, your body's going to burn that for energy. It's not going to burn animal fats, even if you're eating animal fats, and it's not going to burn sugar stores, your fat stores in your body for energy, because it's going to turn to the glucose first. It's just a quick burn, fast burning sugar, and it's going to tap that first, because that's just, more, how would you say, it's going to go there first. That's going to be its first option. So until you stop eating all of the carbohydrate and the sugar, your body will never realize this empowerment of fat adaptation. You'll never know what it feels like to use animal fats for energy. I had never known what it was like to utilize animal fats for energy until July of this year. And I'm 40 years old in July of this year. I was. And so I realized the magic of burning fats for energy, and I realized it's a different kind of energy. It's a different kind of fuel. It's a different kind of stamina. It's a different kind of strength. It's crazy cool. It's far more sustaining. It's not so much of the highs and the lows as much as it's just a nice, constant, fuel source and energy level. Well, some people, in my experience, they are so carbohydrate dependent, and there is no way that their body is just not gonna let them off the hook that easy. They've just become chronically addicted to carbohydrate and sugars. In fact, there's a term called being carb drunk. And what that means is you can actually become so carbohydrate dependent that you can't live without them. And there are actually women, believe it or not, who they're so doped up on carbohydrate, and the carbohydrate in the body and the sugar in the body mixes with the yeast in the body because they have yeast overgrowth, and then you have fermentation. And there are women actually being pulled over by police officers accused of or suspected of drunk driving, and they're not drinking any alcohol, and then they test their alcohol levels, and they actually do have elevated alcohol levels because of the process of fermentation, the yeast in the body combining with the sugar and the carbohydrate they're putting in the body, and it's causing them to feel drunk. There's women that are actually feeling drunk and they're not drinking alcohol. True story. 70% of women have yeast overgrowth, and the majority of them don't even know why that is. Women eat a lot more sugar than men. That's just known. It's fact. It's statistic. I think it's 5.5 pounds of sugar a week that women on average eat individually each and every week of the year. So it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And they can't get off it because they want it. They're addicted to it. And when we're putting people on this ER shred, they're coming off the sugar. And we're doing that intentionally. Now, they're getting some carbohydrate from the meal replacement shakes. They're getting just enough. But we want to teach the body to tap those, the animal fats for energy and the body's own fat stores for energy. For some people, this is not going to be a soft transition. For some people, this is going to be a kick in the butt. Because your body is going to be screaming, where in the hell is my carbohydrate? Where are my sweets? Where are my breads? Where are my crackers? Where is my this? Where is my that? Where are my candies and my soda pops? And your body, it's almost like a drug withdrawal. Like, that's all I can tell you. It's almost like a drug withdrawal. Some of you, I just want you to be honest with yourself, because some of you have a real sweet tooth. That was never my thing. My thing was always the salty foods. Like, if you put popcorn in front of me, I get excited. If you put macadamia nuts or salted nuts in front of me, or chips and salsa, I go, oh boy, that's exciting. Mine was never the sweets. But if you're a known sweet tooth and you go on this protocol and you start to, your body's going, whoa, like this is a real kick in the butt. Know that you're part of that small percentage where you've become way, way, way too carb reliant, too carbohydrate. I mean, the only word I can think of is you've become chronically addicted to carbohydrate. Your body, your brain, everything is just like carbohydrate is necessary for your body, almost like a drug. What happens when you go off a drug? When you go off a drug, you have withdrawal symptoms. What do those withdrawal symptoms look like for an alcoholic or for someone that goes off hard drugs? Those symptoms can be pretty strong. Energy levels plummet. You start to feel like you've got some kind of a nasty cold or a flu. Like, you have all the symptoms of sickness, and this is your body's way of kind of pushing back and saying, I want more of that substance. I'm just letting you know that for some people, you might experience that. A minority of people, you might experience that. And I'm going to tell you what to do if you do experience that. But another thing is you might experience the loose stool. And if you do, I can tell you based on my own experience, I did experience that for about 7 or 8 days. I had loose stool. The definition of diarrhea, they actually say that that's going to the bathroom 5 to 6 times within an hour period of time. You just can't get off the toilet. Loose stool is just when your stool is loose, so if you have loose stool 5-6 times in a day, that doesn't necessarily mean you have diarrhea. Diarrhea can be dangerous. Diarrhea can be a health hazard. If you have diarrhea and you're going to the bathroom 5-6 times in a single hour, we're going to recommend that you tone down this process and kind of regress to a more moderate approach. Okay? And we can talk with you about what that might look like. You're going to want to introduce some carbohydrate to the body. Your body's not ready to go all the way off the carbohydrate yet. Think about dogs. When dogs switch foods, did you know that when they tell you, a veterinarian or anybody like, they tell you to switch the dog's foods, they'll tell you for some dogs, you can't just switch from one food and then boom to another food, because they'll tell you that what will happen is the dog will get some pretty significant diarrhea. And if any of you have dogs, you'll know what I'm talking about. And so for those dogs that get that diarrhea, they actually teach you to mix in a little bit of the new food with the old food and then gradually transition over, okay? And then by doing that, the dog's body can get used to that new food in a more gradual manner, and then you won't have such significant, problems. In the event that you go on this, and let's say that by the third day, the fourth day, the fifth or sixth or seventh, and your energy levels are still really low, and you're one of those minority people, I do not want to give you the impression that this happens a significant amount of the time, because that's not the case. And I can prove it by you going into the group and seeing all the results and all the posts coming in. It's not the case that the majority of people have this happen, but it's important that I put this out there for the minority of people that might experience this. If it happens to you where your energy levels stay low and you're going, what's going on here? Everyone else seems to be feeling so great. Why not me? And you find that, you have the loose stool. If you have the diarrhea, stop doing the protocol as it is designed. Let's take a more gradual approach, and we will post a gradual option. I'll work with Dr. Ina. We'll post a gradual option. That's really easy stuff. But what we want you to do is we want you to introduce a little bit of carbohydrate to the body, and it'll actually tone things down for you and help you segue in on a more gradual basis. So for instance, if you were an Isogenics customer and you actually had some of that Ionic Supreme, take a shot of that once a day and see how you feel. Give it about an hour, see how you feel. You'll probably start to feel better. Just a shot of Ionics once a day. If not, or if you weren't an Isogenics customer and you don't have that product, eat a little bit of vegetable. Try to keep it healthy, try to keep it clean, but eat a little bit of a serving of a vegetable. Eat that serving of vegetable and then give it an hour or so. See how you feel. Give it 2 hours. See how you feel. Journal how you feel. And start to notice that empowerment around understanding what your body's doing and how it's using foods and what your body needs. Now, that's not to say you won't be able to do this process. You just need to take the edge off a little bit so that you can learn fat adaptation. The problem is, if you keep giving the body carbohydrate, yes, the body wants carbohydrate. We know that. But if you keep giving the body carbohydrate all the time, carbohydrate, your body's never going to learn to be fat adaptive. And you'll never realize the empowerment around that. Does that make sense? Body's either going to be burning sugar for energy and fuel, or it's going to be burning fat for energy and fuel. Most people never give it a chance to even realize what it's like to burn energy for fat and fuel. Why? Because on an ongoing basis, every single day of their lives, they've been stuffing carbohydrate in their mouth all the time. Now, is that what our ancestors did is the question. Did our ancestors stuff themselves full of carbohydrate all day, every day, snacking and gorging and grazing? No, they actually didn't. That's not what your ancestors did. And so you kind of have to question, genetically, were you built to do that? Were you built to be doing carbohydrate feeding all day, every day of your life? And could that potentially be part of your problem? Could that potentially be part of why you don't feel very good? Could that potentially be why you're suffering, the ill health effects that you are suffering? Like the inflammation, okay? The different things that, in my opinion, too much carbohydrate is causing, okay? So, in my opinion, I would still work towards fat adaptation. Even if you have to take the edge off with a little serving of vegetables, and then try to get back on the protocol. Incubated shake for breakfast, meat meal for lunch, incubated shake for dinner. See how you feel. If you still feel weak and tired, if you still have loose stool, I wouldn't be afraid of it. My stool was loose for 7 or 8 days. TMI, I know, but 7, 8 days, my stool was loose. Same with my father, same with a lot of different people. And again, that is your body's way. That's not necessarily even, doesn't have to be, don't have to define that as part of, fat adaptation as much as it's just a change in diet. You're changing the what your body's used to. The body's going to get a little confused for a minute there. Now, if it's diarrhea, we need to taper off and we need to take the gradual approach. And if the loose stool lasts longer than, say, a couple weeks, then, it's time to, probably revisit that, introduce back the other foods. Maybe your body doesn't like this. I will say this. One way of doing things is not necessarily for everyone. I am not one of those guys that drank the Kool-Aid and thinks that this is what everyone should be doing across the board. It's the only way to go. It's the only thing that's healthy. I would suggest that if you see people like that and you interpret them in that way and they're that certain and they're pushing that on you in that way, they drank the Kool-Aid, you need to drink the Kool-Aid, I would be suspicious of such people. I'm suspicious of such people. When people say to me, well, you can only drink this kind of coffee, I'm suspicious of such people because I don't like that kind of language. To me, that's very, it's just very arrogant posturing. It's very exclusionary. It's very intolerant. I don't like that kind of behavior in most all walks of life, okay? So there's certain things that we use in the ER shred that are, they serve the ER shred, but that doesn't mean that I'm like, you have to use that the rest of your life. It's not like that, okay? If it's a tool and if it's a resource that serves you and you like it, it's convenient and affordable and your body appreciates that food source, then that's where we're operating from. Does that make sense? This is not like, you drink the Kool-Aid, now drink the Kool-Aid, now make everyone else drink the Kool-Aid. I hate that garbage. Like, I do not want to be known for that. That's awful. But the protocol is magic. The protocol is empowering. The protocol will help you conquer your cravings. It will help you conquer your culprits. It will empower you to overcome such food addictions. If you think I drank the Kool-Aid because I can confidently say that and I can confidently, share that with you, and I actually believe it will be the case for you. If you think that, oh, he drank the Kool-Aid because he thinks that this will do this, this, and this, I only share that based on my own personal experience. And no, that's not because of the products that we use. It's because of the protocol. Does that make sense? The protocol itself is teaching your body fat adaptation. The protocol itself is teaching your body to get off food culprits. ER shred is what's empowering you to overcome all of the dirty garbage in your diet and empowering you to not want it. That's what people can't seem to understand. I think they think we're willing it. I think they think that we're just like strong-arming it. Like, I'm not going to have this anymore, and I'm not going to eat those candies anymore, and I'm not going to eat those desserts anymore. I'm not going to drink that soda pop anymore. I'm not going to do this. And they don't realize that that's not how it is. When you realize the power of this elimination reset, you don't want those things anymore. That is what's so crazy about it. But some of you are going to have to pay a little bit more of a price than others to get to that point. And that's just life. And I hope you'll be patient with the process and I hope you'll be dedicated to it. But talk to people like me in the event that loose stool lasts longer than a couple weeks. We need to. In the event that you have diarrhea, stop doing the program as it is and let's taper off and do it in a more gradual way. And we can work with the health professionals like Dr. Ina Nozek, Susan Rothman, Nicole Constanzer, there's so many of them in there, Debbie, Jesse. We can work with the health professionals to do it in a more gradual way because diarrhea is a very dangerous thing. Did you hear me? Diarrhea, going to the bathroom 5-6 times within only an hour period of time, that can be a dangerous thing because you can actually get low on electrolytes and dehydration and things of that nature. So we need to be aware of that, okay? But don't go posting things like that. I would suggest you contact one of us individually because I just hate for anybody's, you know, their minority experience to be painted as, you know, this is not good for everybody. That's not the case. Does that make sense? The only reason I'm putting this out there to a broad audience is because I want people to be aware that not everybody's the same. Not every body's the same. Everybody's biochemistry is unique as a fingerprint. No two people are exactly alike. There are people who they're going to pay a price for past choices. In the form of detoxification, for instance. Did you know that when you detoxify the human body, which is part of this process, all the garbage that you've built up over time, hi Susan, thanks for joining and thanks for everything you do. All the garbage that you build up residually, auto-intoxication, do you know where it stays? Not all of it gets gone. Some of it gets stored in your tissues. Some of it gets stored in your lymph. Some of it gets stored in even your fat. You know, even the fat around your organs can harbor toxicity and chemicals. And this is proven stuff. I mean, you can read about it. The body will actually try to sequester chemicals and toxins and kind of store them in places where they don't have access to vital tissues and organs. And, you know, you don't realize it, but most of us are carrying on average hundreds of chemicals in our body, synthetics, chemicals that shouldn't be there, but they are there, unfortunately, and you can't avoid them in the day and age we live in. You can minimize them. But these chemicals, what will happen is that through detoxification, your body goes in and tries to, imagine that pulling out toxicity from the body, okay? The body's detoxification process. The body is now saying, okay, we're going to get this stuff gone. But before it's gone, it's going to say hello. So we always say toxicity will say hello before it says goodbye. So imagine this stuff is being pulled out of different areas of the body, and now it's free floating around in your lymph, and you will feel it. You will actually feel it. And you can look up articles that say something like symptoms of detoxification. You could get flu-like symptoms. You could get cold-like symptoms. You could get itchy skin. You could get excess body odor. You could get excess mucus in the nose or the ears. There's so many weird things that can actually happen. Some people get a little bit of the chills. Some people get lightheaded and foggy, and you know, they a lot of brain fog from it. I could go on and on with all these different crazy symptoms that people can actually realize from detoxification of the human body. But it's important that we do that, and it's an important component of this process. Again, same thing. If it was someone who has a tremendous amount of toxic consideration, probably better that you ease into the protocol in a more gradual manner. And again, we'll work with Susan, Ina, people like this to present you with a more gradual process. So what that might look like, to give you an example, instead of doing like those 2 intensive deep cleansing days with the collagen bone broth, you might only be able to do one of those at the start. Okay, 2 consecutive deep cleansing days might be a little bit much for you. You'll know by the first cleanse day if it's too much for you. You'll know, because the second cleanse day is always easier than the first cleanse day, the reset days. Second's always easier than the first. In my experience, almost 20 years now, the second's always easier than the first, a lot easier, because you've suspended digestion. The body's not having all the, you know, the hunger symptoms. It's worked through, digested, suspended all the metabolism and everything else, all the burning, and now you your body gets used to what you're doing, and so it's easier. You'll know by that first day if, whoa, like I need to tailor this down. If you have to tailor it down beyond even 1 cleanse reset at a time, then you can just do like daily cleansing regimen. So for instance, you wake up first thing in the morning, you drink a couple ounces, like 2 ounces of this juice every day. You drink it, and then you just wait a few hours. You can, you know, then you can have your incubated shake later on. In fact, some people, because the body's natural detoxification cycle, I think it's between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., depending on when you go to bed, you could even wait till the evening, have your second incubated shake at, say, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, have it earlier, 5 would be good. And then wait till right before bedtime and drink your couple ounces of the cleanse juice before bedtime. And then as your body goes into its natural detoxification cycle that night, those cleansing botanicals, herbs, and teas will help facilitate or help the body cleanse itself. That's what really the protocol does. It doesn't cleanse you per se, helps your body cleanse itself, gives the cleansing organs and faculties and functions that are burdened and overworked and sluggish, gives them a pick-me-up, gives them a little boost so that they can perform their proper functions. Okay? So even though it might appear to some of you that the ER shred is this, whoa, this is crazy, this is radical, it's really not. In fact, most people that go on it, they say, holy crap, like it's a little bit of a mind blow, because you're like, how do I feel so satiated? How do I feel so satisfied? How am I not craving all those things that I am so used to eating on a daily basis? Thank you, Tara. How am I not like, how am I able? How is it physically possible, mentally possible for me to suspend those cravings, to overcome them so quickly? How am I not turning to the carbohydrates so much? Like, it kind of plays with people's minds, like they didn't realize they were as powerful as they are, and they are. And so I feel bad if I'm beating anybody up who says, well, that wasn't my experience. And maybe you as an individual, you're a little bit, more carbohydrate dependent. And that's not a derogatory framework. I mean, you have been taught your whole life that you need the carbohydrate, and you do to some extent. But we want to lower that carbohydrate content for various reasons. If that's you, don't beat yourself up. There's no need to beat yourself up. You can just gradually work up to doing the full-blown ER shred. You'll still realize the same benefit. But I would hate for anyone to do the 11-day ER shred as intended and to feel that feeling of, oh my gosh, I have no energy and I have loose stool, and why is everyone else feeling great and I'm not feeling great yet? And here's what's happened in my experience. The people that stick with it, eventually it clicks and the loose stool stops and their body becomes adaptive, and they're able to realize the benefit of getting off all those culprits and getting off the carbohydrate. Gaining control of the carbohydrate is so critical for those particular people. And guys, let's just be honest. There is some real power in vulnerability and in authenticity and in accountability and taking inventory of yourself. And I know there's a large percentage of the population that they are chronically addicted to carbohydrate, okay? They're chronically addicted to the taste of sweet. They are chronically addicted to sweetness, okay? And the comfort of feeling that carb feel that bread gives you, that donuts give you, that bagels give you, that cookies give you. They're addicted to that comfort feeling, okay? I've got to tell you that it is so unbelievably empowering when you gain control over that. So I would just work with us on this. Work with us, because I know your health goals are there. You wouldn't be doing this in the first place. And you're going to gain control. Let me tell you about my Thanksgiving dinner. My Thanksgiving dinner was turkey, of course, with a bunch of grass-fed butter on top, sea salt. And then I had... Crystal cooked up this ginormous sweet potato for me. I only ate of that ginormous sweet potato, which was literally about that big. I only ate a quarter of it. So I ate like half of a half. And that's all I really wanted. That's all I really needed. I didn't want more carbohydrate than that. Beyond that, what else did we have on the menu there? Hold on, let me think. I had half of an avocado, which I love. There was some stuffing, but I only had a taste because I just didn't want it. And What else? For dessert, we had these pies, but we had cooked these gluten-free apple pie, and we had made it special with very minimal ingredients that we knew had no culprits in them. And then Crystal also made this cheesecake that was made out of goat's cheese. And, you know, same thing, minimal ingredients, things we know are clean and pure, and we know they're not culprits for us personally. And so I ate a piece of both of those, a piece of the cheese. And I haven't over the last 4.5 months, I just haven't eaten that stuff because I haven't felt like it. I didn't want it. Here's the cool part. Felt great. Didn't overeat. I did a phenomenal workout that day before the dinner. The next day I didn't pay the heavy price for all the... And so there's a whole group of us that started an ER Shred now. And we're on day 1 of warm-up. And so we'll do a shake for breakfast, incubated, a meat meal, a shake for dinner. We'll do that today and tomorrow, and then the reset days will be Monday, Tuesday. This becomes like a tool. But what you don't want to do, and I'm going to really advocate that you don't do this, don't treat the tool as like a parachute that's just going to magically show up and save your life. Okay? Like, don't treat it that way. I promise you, the worst thing you can do for your lifestyle and for your daily habits is take on this perception. It's kind of the perception that I had in my 20s and maybe even my early 30s, where I thought, oh, I can just take my pencil and scribble all over my paper. Scribble, 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 scribble. And then just periodically I will go now and do this detox regimen, and I turn the pencil around and I erase all my scribbling. Okay? That was my logic. Don't do that. Please don't do that. ER Shred is a lifestyle. It's going to teach you legitimate moderation. It's going to teach you legitimate, Crystal calls it, Ina calls it, intuitive eating. Your body will talk to you. Your body will tell you what foods it likes. Your body will tell you what combinations of foods it likes. Your body will tell you when you should eat, what times of day, how much you should eat at what times of day. Crystal's realized that she doesn't like to eat a lot for dinner. She likes to eat a very light dinner. She likes to eat more during the early part of the day. She learned this how? Not because she read it in some book, not because some doctor told her, not because a dietitian or a nutritionist told her. She learned it how? By experiencing this protocol, getting down to a baseline, learning her baseline, getting familiar with her baseline, introducing things, building upon the baseline, every now and then blowing it, having to go back down to the baseline, start again, okay? You guys used to play video games, right? Did you ever play Mario Brothers? And you needed a lot of lives. Why? You needed a lot of lives because as you're learning that board, you're going to die a lot. And then you start again. And then you die. And then you start again. But periodically, you make it to a checkpoint. And if you can make it to a checkpoint based on knowing the board and knowing the skills and knowing what you need to do, you get to a checkpoint. And that checkpoint is critical because that's how you can advance even further beyond where you originally were, okay? So if you can make it to a certain checkpoint and you have a certain amount of lives, you're like, yeah, I'm going to advance in this game. You'll never get past the whole game in one sitting. You're going to have to die a lot. You're going to have to completely start over again. You're going to have to get to these checkpoints and then build upon that. That's what the ER Shred is. You get to a baseline. Now you build up. You get to a checkpoint. You go, yay, I made it here. I know this much about myself. You build upon that. You fail. You go back to the checkpoint. You build upon that. You fail. You go back to the checkpoint. And luckily, you're not going back to the very bottom now because you've already built all this knowledge and all this experience and all this skill, okay? The ER Shred, it's a lifestyle. And if you'll never know until you've been on it for an extended period of time. And then you're going to go, holy crap, this is an empowerment lifestyle. This is getting down to a baseline. This is listening to my body, becoming in tune with my inherent self. Your body might be different than other people, so don't listen to what they tell you. Listen to what your body's telling you around food. Oh man, I hope this is making sense. And if I sound crazy, then I promise you, it only sounds crazy because you haven't experienced it. And I know that sounds loaded. I know that sounds like, oh, that's pretty self-serving. Guys, I never could have believed, not in a million years, that I could go 4.5 months without chips and salsa, 4.5 months without macadamia nuts, 4.5 months without all the Coke Zeros, 4.5 months without beer, 4.5 months without pizza, 4.5 months without any of my little gummies, my little sweet and sour gummies that I was so crazy about. 4.5 months without all the bad things that were causing me problems and inflammation, and doing it without having to strong arm it, without having to will it. Oh, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I won't have that. It's not like that, guys. That's why when you go to eat with a bunch of friends, like I went to eat with my family and they're like, please just eat this pastry. And I was like, oh, I don't want it. I don't want it. And they were like, for some reason, like it was killing them that I wouldn't taste the pastry. And I was like, you guys, it's not because I'm so afraid of the pastry. It's because I really don't want the pastry. I used to like those pastries. I know they taste good. I just don't feel like the pastry. And so finally, just to appease them, I was like, here, give me the pastry. And I ate a piece of the pastry. And they were like, oh God, good. He's human. He's not a robot. But I tell you, it feels pretty damn good to have that kind of power where I don't want the pastry. Like, I just don't want it. It doesn't serve me. I don't even view it as fuel. I don't view it as food. But I get that human beings want the treat. Now, here's what you're going to do as a human being. Stop thinking you deserve a treat every meal, please. And with your children, stop thinking that they deserve a treat with every meal. Stop thinking that they deserve a Coke with every meal, please. Stop thinking that they deserve dessert every single day. No, please don't do that. Again, go back to our ancestors. They were stronger than us physically and mentally, in my opinion. What could they do? Did every time they ate dinner, did they go, what's on tap for dessert? What's sweet? What do we got? What do we got? What you got? What you got? You got nothing? Oh, I got nothing either. I mean, they just didn't have it. It wasn't so readily available. Just because it's readily available, that's what's made you so weak. Do you understand? So get that crap out of your house. No soda pop in the house. You know it's not serving you. I'm not saying you don't have to have it ever, but, you know, make it a treat kind of thing. And if it's in the house, you're going to turn to it. When you're having a moment of stress or you're having one of those moments like, I deserve something special. I deserve something. I'm a good boy. No, like, don't play these games. Start to look at food as fuel and not so much as rewards and entertainment, okay? If you want to look at food as rewards, then I'm going to challenge you to earn your food. Earn it. We don't have to work like our ancestors did out in the wilderness, in the fields, and earning our keep. We don't have to do that. So shame on you if you constantly feel like, oh, I deserve this. I deserve this little treat. I deserve this. No, you don't deserve it. Go bust your ass in the field all day. Then tell me you deserve it, okay? So stop that kind of, if anything, earn the food you do eat. Earn it. And so like every day I like work out. I work out hard every day. And it's not because I want to earn treats. And it's not because I want to earn rewards. I work out really hard every day because I'm like, I don't have to do what my ancestors did on a daily basis. I heard someone say once this. They said, well, these guys in the gym that think they're so buff, like, yeah, they think they're superheroes and stuff. They act like they're so strong, but I don't ever see them using that muscle to save anybody's life or anything. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I really do. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I think a better way of looking at it is you don't have to go out every day and like find your own water and kill your own food and work in the fields and be physical all day, every day. So the way I look at fitness or the gym or whatever is, hey, I have to earn my keep and I have to use this body. If I don't use this body, I lose it. So we all know this stuff, but earn your food. For instance, I always earn my coffee. Every morning I drink my coffee, I go out and walk. I either walk on the treadmill or I get on a vibration platform or I go walk outside and I earn my coffee. I don't just think I deserve my coffee. Why do I deserve my coffee? Because I'm alive in this day and age, I deserve my coffee? Like, earn your coffee. And if you eat a meal and you fudged a little, here's a concept. Go and burn it off. Either earn it first or burn it after and say, kind of overdid it there. Hey, honey, or hey, to your daughter, your whatever. Hey, you know what? I overdid it a little bit. Let's go for a walk or let's go for a hike. And it doesn't have to be like this process of you feel guilty. It's actually empowerment. It's not a process of feeling guilty. I promise you it's not. The only way you feel guilty is if you know you should do it and you choose not to only because why? You won't feel like going to do it, but I promise you, if you go start, just start, okay? Everybody thinks that certain people have more discipline than other people or more motivation, and that's just not true. We're all wired the same by and large. We all have the same amount of minutes in a day. All I'm saying is start. Just start. If you drink your coffee in the morning and you do so like slouch down with a bagel, just say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to try what Sean said. I'm just going to try to earn this coffee. And so you get up and you take the first step and then take another. You'll find that the coffee works better as you move. The coffee will actually, it'll be assimilated in the body better and your body will burn it more efficiently and it'll actually fuel you better, way better. When the body's moving and you got all those cells and little mini engines functioning, it'll actually work better for you. And watch what it does for your emotions. Watch what it does for your mentality. And then you build upon that, build upon that, build upon that. And the people that you think have all this incredible self-discipline, that's not what it is. What happened was those are incremental things that they built upon. And then they get to a new checkpoint or a baseline. Their baseline is beyond your baseline is all. And so I'm just challenging everybody out there. It's never too late to get started. It's never too late to get started. We just had Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a time where, people gain between 10 and 15 pounds over the holidays. People will gorge themselves. People will justify more alcohol consumption. They'll justify more eating, and they'll tell themselves this horrible thing we do to ourselves. They'll tell themselves, it's okay because I'm really going to get after it in the new year. I really disagree with that kind of a mentality. I just disagree with it because the best time to get started, even if it's just a little bit, even if all you did was start going for a walk 15 minutes a day now, and if it's cold where you are, go in the middle of the day or get on a treadmill, 15 minutes a day now. And then guess what I want you to do? The next day, try to go for 16 minutes. And the next day, try to go for 17. And if this is all you did, if over a week's period of time, you built up to the point where you're going on a 30 to 45 minute walk 3 times a week, for the majority of people, this is major. And you're going to see major improvements from that. Major. If your body, I want to teach you something about your body because I know this based on my own experience. I promise you this. If you will use fitness, moving the body, you don't have to do like what I do or Jesse does. You don't have to do what Nicole does. You don't have to do what a lot of us do in terms of like we're trying to build a physique, we're trying to look a certain way. You don't have to do that. That doesn't have to be anyone's motivation. It does something for my self-esteem. That goes back to me being bullied as a kid. You find a lot of people that got bullied, they become motivated to be strong. And I feel best when I feel strong and I look strong. And that has a lot to do with a couple of incidents when I was bullied as a kid. But guys, if you'll get that body moving, it's so elementary. Get that body moving and your body, miracles will happen. Miracles. With or without ER shred, miracles will happen for you if you get that body moving. Get that body moving and all of a sudden your digestion starts working better, okay? Get that body moving and all of a sudden you feel better up here. Get that body moving and all of a sudden it's interesting. I find myself being nicer to my spouse. I find myself being nicer to my children. get yourself moving. And most of us are living a sedentary lifestyle. We're dormant, we're stagnant, we're not moving. If that's you, you're like a toxic cesspool. Your body is designed. I know this is a lot of information and it's just coming out of me. And just if you're here, thank you. Your body's kind of designed like a beautiful stream, okay? And the way it's supposed to flow is that the good comes in and then, you know, it actually leaves and more good comes in and leaves. And it's an ongoing process. That's how hydration works. That's how the body works. That's how the lymph works. Okay, all the different functions and faculties of the body are all built on circulation and things moving. When you dam up a stream, what happens? Dam it up. No more movement. And guess what happens? Have you ever seen a stream that gets dammed up? All of a sudden, you'll have stagnation and things will block and things will start to grow in there and it will get really gross looking. You'll start to see things growing in there and it will get really, really stinky, okay? Because why? The good can't keep moving through and the bad can't leave. That's your body in a nutshell. And unless you move, your body can't work on your behalf. Unless you get that lymph pumping, the lymph doesn't have a pump. Did you know this? Your lymph doesn't have a pump. Your heart is a pump that moves the blood around. But what moves your lymph around? There's no pump. The only thing that gets your lymph working on your behalf, which your lymph is what carries all the bad crap to all the cleansing organs, the organs that push everything out, your kidneys, your liver, and eventually eliminate things. Your lymph has to move. And if you don't move it, you've got a real problem. So when you're on the ER shred, or even if you're not doing it, I want to challenge you to move your body. And the best things you can do for the lymph is like shaky things. So if you have a mini trampoline, get on it and bounce, bounce, bounce. Let your whole body move and shake 10 to 15 minutes while deep breathing. Even deep breathing can be lymph work. Another great thing for the lymph is a sauna. Another great thing for the lymph is dry body brushing. Look it up, dry body brushing. Okay. Another great thing for the lymph is horseback riding, if you can believe it. Horseback riding. Get that crap moving around inside of you. Why? The sooner you get that crap moving around, the sooner that crap can get out of the body. You want it gone and out. And no, just hydrating isn't going to do it for you. You've got to get the pump, the lymph, moving so it moves the bad stuff out. Okay? You know what's funny is even for people that know this stuff, I know this based on my experience because I knew this stuff. I've known this stuff for years. And yet we still don't do it. We forget. We forget to do it. Why? Because it takes effort. I forget to have posture. See, if I was to sit with posture, I actually look like this when I sit with posture. I look better, actually. I look taller. I look leaner. And it's better for my organs. It's better for everything. It's better for my spine. But I forget to have posture. And so oftentimes you'll see me hunched like this. Horrible for my neck. You know, the chiropractors would look at me and say, "You idiot. You want to have nice posture, your shoulders back just a little bit, and you want to have your chest up nice and tall. And, this is posture." And yet I forget to do it. Deep breathing. We forget to deep breathe. You know why you're yawning all the time? Is because it takes work to breathe. And we are so lazy and our bodies become so lazy, we forget to even breathe. Now, ideally, when you breathe, you big, deep belly breath. Look, I filled the whole belly full of air. It's not just the lungs. The whole belly gets full of air. Hold. Breathe in through the nose, and then guess what? You blow it out through the mouth. And let it all out. Just doing that every day. Deep breathe for 5 minutes. You can't believe the health benefits. Just sit there and deep breathe. So simple. It's the little things that make a really big, big difference. So body brushing, sauna work, lymph work, deep breathing, meditation, stretching, Oh my gosh, you guys. And how many of us, we're not doing any of it. And it's almost like we know better. What are we doing? It's crazy. We know better. What are we doing? I believe that our brains, our common sense has been hijacked. We're being held hostage. That's my belief, is that we're being held hostage by what? Well, based on my experience, I think I was being held hostage by the inflammatory response of my body. I was being held hostage. I was no longer doing the thinking for myself. I was held hostage by the inflammatory response of all the culprit foods I was eating, the brain, my emotions, my motivation, my behavior. Everything was held hostage, and I was kind of held against my will. You'll never realize true bona fide empowerment until you're able to overcome that prison. And ER Shred, in my opinion, helps you facilitate that. Break free of those chains so that you can realize what it's like to be feeling at your best self. To create that space so that your body can do what it's intended to do. To create that space so that you can feel the way you're intended to feel. All right? Does that make sense? On all levels. Physical, emotional, mental, even spiritual. I know it sounds crazy. I know I sound like I drank the Kool-Aid. You just got to experience it. That's all I can say. Okay, thanks for being with me. I hope something I said was helpful. And for those of you that are fighting the good fight and learning to get off the carbohydrate, the massive, massive amounts of carbohydrate, I want to thank you for being devoted. I want to thank you for being strong. I want to challenge you to continue to be strong and to listen to your body. Don't overdo it. Introduce a little carbohydrate and then get back on the program. Take the edge off and get back on the program. It can work for you. I know it can work for you because I've seen people break through that. Not one or two, but a lot of people, probably in the neighborhood of 10, 12 people now I've seen be able to break through that. It didn't happen in 4 days, 5 days, but can I say that it happened within a 2-week period of time? Yeah, I can actually. I can say that within 2 weeks. So that should give you hope. And, if you need help, reach out to us. Okay, thanks everybody. For all of you joining us on the ER Shred post-Thanksgiving, let's rock and roll, baby. And for all of you that are considering it, don't wait till the new year. Do it before Christmas. Rein this crap in before Christmas. Get control before Christmas. Why wouldn't you? Why would you let yourself go more? That makes no sense. Do it now. Okay, thanks.